By the way, the Bank of Nigeria didn't call you. God called you. He sent you. The Bank of Nigeria was the messenger, but that's what happened.
Right.
You realize
we
that
turned it
this
away
is like
a few times, and we kept saying, no, we don't want the order. We don't want the order. Stop calling. Stop calling. No, we don't want the
and
order.
like, listen, we're gonna make you get this order whether you like it or not. And they just kept on coming back. Unbelievable.
None of your business, Oshi. None of your business, Michael.
It's the None of Your Business podcast, hosted by Michael and Oshi.
We are privileged and honored to be here today with a power couple. And I'm excited to have you guys here because I've known both of you for a very, very long time. Let's just get right into it. Why don't you guys introduce yourself? Who's gonna take the lead here?
Let's see. I think I'm going to take the lead.
Wow, that was quick. That didn't take a whole lot of time.
We're used to this already. Sammy and Cheryl from Rush King Promotions. Hi, how are you? Thanks for having us. Go ahead.
I'm Sammy. Go ahead.
That's it. You're done.
We're here.
You're
from
done.
Rush
You're
King.
finished.
We've been working together for 20 years. It was in November. We know Michael and the Prime Source team from the beginning of time. We've been working together with our Prime Source contract probably from the beginning. We've been doing a lot of stuff together, and we're happy to be here.
Wow, that's quite an introduction.
Yes.
We got to get right into it because I have to tell you that I'm a big fan of partnerships. And we talk about this all the time, or at least I do. And I always say partnerships can be the best thing or the worst thing, right? But in terms of business, the minute you realize that it's like a marriage and that you have to put the work into it, that's when you can potentially have success in partnerships. And it could be the best thing in the world. You guys stepped it up a notch. You took not only your partnership on a personal level, but on a business level. I know there's a lot of people listening that have partnerships with their spouses. A lot of people listening that broke up partnerships. A lot of people listening that want to break up their partnerships, both personally and professionally. I have to ask you guys, what is the secret?
It's not for the faint of heart. And that's what we tell our children. We have grown children now, and we tell them, don't do this. It's not for the faint of heart. We happen to be very different. As you can tell, we have very different personalities. We do very different parts of the business. Sammy's on the back end with purchasing and with our website and with development on that. And I'm more on the sales side and with our staff and selling and handling customers. So we don't actually work together all day. We don't even sit near each other. That's a healthy thing. He sits in his office. I sit in mine. And it's funny, sometimes the customers or some of our staff will say, can you ask Sammy this or that? I said, you could ask him just like I can ask him because we don't actually sit next to each other. We've learned ways to balance ourselves. We've learned ways to work together that are healthy. And we've learned different things that should not be done. And
Can you share some of those things? I'm so
don't
curious.
throw things in the office because they might break.
Don't fight in front of the employees. Like, don't fight in front of your children. Don't fight in front of the employees. Who has executive decision-making power? When it comes down to it and there's a decision that needs to be made, right or left, who's making that final call between the two?
I'm interested to hear his answer. I
They
want to
both
hear
said
his
I
answer.
do.
I want to hear his answer.
I will try to encourage Cheryl to make the decision, but many times she will force me to say, you decide.
Wow, so it's not like any of you want to even make the decision. You really want the other person to make the decision.
We're on the same page with a lot of things.
Right. With a lot of things. We also have different outlooks, so we can bounce things off in different ways. Just for example, we're here at the ECAP conference. It's a very expensive conference for us.
Very
A
expensive.
lot of money that goes into this. There's a lot of work that we do in the back end for this conference. And we always talk about, how to do this in the right way, how to do this in the smart way, how to spend the money in the best way possible. And we'll bounce things off of each other because we're so different and we think about things so differently that he'll come up with some ideas that I might not necessarily have thought
Sammy,
of.
I want to hear it from you. Give me an argument that you guys had recently. Tell me something that you guys had it out and you had to make the executive decision.
Oh, but I want to hear those petty
You
ones.
put your foot down.
I want to hear the dramatic one. I want to hear, there had to have been, how many years are you doing this business together?
This is 20 years.
20 years. So in 20, that's a lifetime, 20 years, a
Yeah.
long time.
Well,
Yeah, that's 2 centuries. Not 2 centuries, 2 decades.
Yes.
2 decades, 2 centuries, my God.
yeah.
2 decades
It
is long
feels
enough.
like 2
Yeah, it feels like 2 centuries. Yeah. So in the last 20 years, as far as you can remember, what was the biggest? Did you ever have an argument in front of people? Like, did it get really ugly? Like you guys had to, just stop it right there. Do you remember something like that?
So I don't think.
You'll remember all of the arguments.
Yeah. Doesn't every wife?
Yeah, of course.
Right. I don't know that there was something we really tried to behave in front of
Sammy,
other people.
let it out.
Let's hear.
That makes sense. Do you bring your work home with you? Do you guys ever talk about work at home?
Yes, certainly.
You do.
Certainly. Yes, absolutely.
Which is why we try to invite Shabbos guests. We try to have a lot of people around our table so that we have other things going on. Because if it's just us, then we just go from one conversation to the next, and then there's no
Yeah.
beginning, there's no end, there's no anything else going on.
We hang out a lot, Michael and I, and with other partners as well. And we tend to talk a lot about business when we're together on our own free time. Somehow conversations just always veer in that direction.
Right.
But you guys are passionate about what you do. Like after all these years, do you still love this? Are you still like excited about it? Or has it started wearing off and it's becoming a chore?
Every day is an adventure for us. Every day is different. The clients are different. The projects are different. To me, every day is just still as interesting as it was 20 years ago.
Keep in mind, we're the promo people. We do fun stuff. We do interesting stuff. We don't just do the same thing day in and day out. And
Right.
if we are doing the same thing day in and day out, we have to change it up. It's my job to change it up because when you come to us and you say, Cheryl, can you give me an idea of something that we can recommend to a facility to give out? You don't want to hear pens and sticky notes.
No.
We've done that already.
Give us
We
a
know
good
that
idea that
already.
you did recently. Just go for it because you're on
Something
that topic.
creative, something
Yeah,
someone
what-
did that
what was
really stood
creative
out.
recently?
Yeah. But first,
Well-
tell us about your business. Tell us what you guys really do. What does Rush King do? You guys have a pretty solid name. You've been around the industry for a long time.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners know about Rush King. But for those who don't know, when you talk about a promotional company, like what does that entail? What do you guys typically offer? What type of services? Tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay. So want me to take it from here?
Yeah.
So we do obviously print and promotional items. So we're going to do anything that has a logo printed on it. So we can do the basic stuff, pens, sticky notes, T-shirts, mugs, caps, anything that you can think of off the top of your head. But we also have customers that will come to us and say, want something a little bit more unique, a little bit something more creative.
Customized.
We have customers that we do their things completely done overseas. They have a concept, they have their theme, they have their logo, and then we'll work on something for months on end with factories that we work with overseas, and we come up with designed items that are unique and interesting. Day-to-day customers can't handle orders like that because we have to get that done months in advance. There's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
A lot of what Sammy does is work with the factories overnight because China has to be done overnight and the customers have to be handled during the day. So there's a lot of give and take that we do.
Yeah.
Most unique things, definitely the things that we're doing overseas. Things
Overseas.
that we're doing that are
How,
custom.
how many people in the company, in the business?
So right now we have about 22. I think we're at 22 people. We actually hired somebody this week. We have a few different offices. Once we hit COVID and we started getting the people, like we heard last night, talking about people working remote
Yeah.
or Mr. Wonderful, we learned that people don't necessarily have to come into the office. So while I was always rigid and I wanted everyone to be part of a team and I liked the team building and
Sure.
the brainstorming and the working together and I love that atmosphere, once we hit COVID and we started telling people to work from home, we said, hey, this is not so bad either. We kind of brought back our teams a little bit to the office. We have an office in Brooklyn, New York, where we are. We have an office in Lakewood where we have a whole bunch of people. And then we have people that work in their home offices across the country
Remotely.
remotely.
And they're
it
being
works
productive. You're
wonderful.
finding that it's working out.
Wonderful. We
And
love
opened
it.
up a large employee pool for us from all different parts of the country.
Sure. You got a bigger market when you have that kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
allowance when people can work from
Right.
home.
Right. We have great people that we're able to hire. They come in. We do have different opportunities that we like to put the team together. I love having people meet each other and be able to sit next to each other in a restaurant or an evening out. We do a lot of that to just keep people going together. But other than that, people are working remote. We have the technology for it. We have a great team. And that brings me back to your original question, what's Rush King? Rush King is the promo company with feeling, with the heart behind it, with how to take care of the customers the right way. We're automated. We have the technology behind it, but we're still people behind the phone.
Love
will
that.
say, we're still here for you. We're going to give you advice. We're going to hold your hand through the process. You have other things that you need to do. And that's always my mantra. You guys, everybody has their other businesses to run. Ordering promotional items shouldn't be your full-time job. It's my full-time job. I need to know what's out there. I need to know the price point. I need to know what to suggest to you. And I need my team to stand behind and to say, these are good ideas. These are not good ideas. You handle what you need to handle. You do your job. You fill your beds or whatever else is your job. We'll do the rest and we'll do it simply,
Yeah.
easy, and not expensively.
That's a beautiful thing.
Service.
That's a beautiful thing. Definitely the human element. It's not just so much about your company. It's about you guys. That's really what's going to sell. That's what people are going to come back to you again is because they like dealing with you. I don't know. I mean, I feel like promotional items is, I'm not going to say commodity. That sounds a little bit cheap, but there's a lot of companies that do this kind of thing. And it's got to be hard for you to stick out and to, be top of mind for people. Like, what is it that you try to do to attract people that separates you from all the competitors?
The items themselves are commodities. It is a commodity. We mentioned sticky notes and the pens. They are a commodity. Finding the right item for you in the right budget, but the way we handle it, the service that we provide, the people that we are, just the way we interact with the client and their team making sure it's there. It's taking all of the surprise and all of the, whatever else might be uncomfortable about the process. We take that out. We take the brunt of it.
Most of my customers know, shoot an email to Cheryl. It will be taken care of. We're not spending any more
Who's
money.
Cheryl?
Me.
Oh, okay.
And it'll
You go by
it'll be
Cheryl?
handled.
What's your Hebrew name?
Cyril.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Is that a common thing? Cyril is always Cheryl, or you just?
No, it was my grandmother's name. My parents named after my grandmother, and my parents liked the name Cheryl, so they gave me an English
Where'd
name.
you guys grow up, by the way?
I grew up in Brooklyn.
And you?
Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Oh.
Ooh, Elizabeth. I
And now
know
you
Elizabeth.
live in
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. We spoke about this earlier, so I just want to
Yeah.
reiterate this idea. I love Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn, but I also love that I got out of Brooklyn in many ways, although I do miss it. So you guys,
Our suitcases are packed. We just haven't yet left. But we're
Any
1
day,
foot
any
out
day
the
it's
door.
happening.
It's a quite dusty suitcase.
We're 1 foot out.
how long did you plan on living in Brooklyn for?
1 year.
1 year.
We said 1 year. We were both in college. We had to finish up our stuff. We both had jobs and we had things that we were doing. We're going to live here 1 year, but we're not raising our children in Brooklyn. I would never even date any guy that was from Brooklyn other than Sammy over here, who promised me he's not a Brooklyn guy. He's so nice. He's so genuine. He's so warm. He's not a real Brooklyn guy.
Whoa. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm nice. I'm warm. I'm genuine. How'd you guys meet?
So we know a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
And a cousin of mine was friends with his brother, and they suggested the idea. And I said, a Brooklyn guy? Not for me. I'm from New Jersey. I'm an out-of-town girl. I went to Darkly Bean in Israel. I'm not the typical Brooklyn girl.
I don't know about out of town. You're like
Survive
20
here.
miles
I was
away
gonna
from
say,
Brooklyn.
yeah.
Relax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been? Right. Have you been to Elizabeth?
Sure, many times. Yeah.
Yeah, for their food.
It does have an out of town mentality.
It does.
I hear what you're
It's a
saying.
It does.
Community. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We actually talked about living there also, and it just didn't work out for us. We talked about living in a bunch of different places, but once you have kids and you get kids settled and you have a life and you have a busy things going on and everyone's doing well where they are, it starts to get
It's hard
hard.
to change. It's hard
Yeah.
to change.
Starts to get
So when did you guys come with the idea that you want to do a promotional item company? Like when did it start? How did it happen? Was this the first thing you guys did?
that was the first thing we did together. Yes.
right. We both.
How'd you
worked
come up with this
different jobs.
idea? Why'd you go into this?
I am a computer programmer by trade. Went to college for that. Have my master's degree in that. And I wrote a computer program for a company that actually sold promotional products. You might remember the company. And
All in one? What was it? Out of the box?
Out of the
out of the
box.
box.
Wow. Out of the box promo.
I feel left out over here. What's
I mean,
up?
we knew each other for over 2 decades.
Yeah.
Or
we
even-
worked on,
probably more than that even.
Probably 20.
was it the Wynn Hotel back then that
You
we were
bet.
working on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was even before the Wynn Hotel.
I remember knowing you then. And like, Steve Wynn and his wife decided to like change the way Vegas works. And they wanted to keep people in the rooms upstairs where until
That's
then
right.
everyone was going downstairs. And he
Right.
changed the model.
That's right.
And he went out to bid and he said, who can help me make a room that is
Right.
inviting for people to stay in the room?
Yeah.
And you guys worked on that project. I remember being involved in that. It was a fun project then.
What are some of the really big projects you've done that you're very proud of? Like any big names? Like do you service Google, Amazon? I don't know. So who do you?
Nigeria?
Right. That's a great story. Have you ever heard that story from us?
I mean, Bank of Nigeria always contacts me for money. I mean,
yes.
Right. But this time it was real.
what happened?
It's a great story.
Who's going to tell it?
Well, I could take it. You want to take
I
it?
love
Go
this.
ahead. You can.
Sammy, you're dismissed.
Go ahead.
We'll call you back later.
You didn't want to be
Tells
here.
it better than I do.
Okay.
That's a great story. This is going back many years. We get a phone call from Bank of Nigeria that they have cash to pay for blank travel bags, duffel bags. That's screaming fraud. Bank of
Well, you got a
Nigeria.
phone call? They called you?
Yeah.
They called on the phone. This is back. It
Spoke
was
to our
going back
customer
many years.
service, kept on calling back. And it's like, the Bank of Nigeria. You don't take an order from the Bank of Nigeria.
Of course not. Yeah.
And number one, what we do is printed. Why do you want blank things from us? We don't do blank things. Go to Amazon. Go online.
Yeah, that's
Are
weird. They
the
wanted to
printed
buy the
paper.
item from
You
you.
want to buy the item, we need them blank, and we
Blank.
need them delivered to an airport.
Interesting. Okay.
What does that scream to you?
And leather bag.
Yeah. Something just
High-end leather bags, not printed.
Not printed.
very
Came to
shady.
Rush.
Very
They
shady.
came to Rush Game.
Very
okay,
shady.
continue.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
So like, thank you, but we'll pass. They called back again. We told them, thank you, but we're really not interested. I get a call on my cell phone and this is before we used cell phones for anything other than like, personal to,
Phone calls back when it was an actual phone.
And
Right.
it's my bank. It's Chase. I bank with Chase, and they're on the phone. And like, did you get a call from the Bank of Nigeria? Yes. Okay. Who are you? They're like, well, I'm not your regular banker, but I'm someone else at Chase. Perhaps you'd like to take this order from the Bank of Nigeria. I'm like, why are you calling me? Have my banker call me if it's really something. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, my phone rings. It's the branch manager of my local branch in Brooklyn, who I have a relationship with, calling me and saying, please, you're embarrassing us. The Bank of Nigeria would like to place an order, and you guys are not taking the order. We recommended you at a meeting with the Bank of Nigeria, who happens to be one of Chase, at that time, not today, but at that time was Chase's largest commercial client. And they were real people. And we were recommended at a meeting in Chase. And here I am, Sammy from Rush King is turning down the order. I'm embarrassing my bank.
Why didn't they mention up front that they got a referral
We weren't even
from Chase
listening.
Bank? They
We
should have
just got
started
him
with
off the phone. It's like, yeah, Bank of Nigeria, right?
No, he's
You
saying,
wanna
why
give
didn't
me all
Chase
the
tell
money?
you? Like, give you a
Or
heads
somebody
up.
tell you, I'll give you a heads
Interesting.
up.
Because when you refer someone, you expect them to take the order.
That's it. Yeah, take the order.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't.
For people.
And they're
yeah.
being relentless. They're going at like back. They're harassing him.
So what
to take
happened? You
this
actually
order.
did the order then.
And they wanted to
Yeah,
send a
yeah.
wire transfer, so they needed our bank account information.
Did you
We're
go to
like, yeah,
Nigeria to
right.
deliver it? I'm assuming.
We delivered
right?
it to an airport. We've had a lot of fun stories of things that had to get delivered.
Did you
to
find out what they
airports.
needed this stuff for? Like why they
There was a
wanted
meeting.
this?
And there was a meeting with other bankers, and our bank had recommended
the
it.
50th anniversary of the Bank of Nigeria.
Right. So there was a
Yeah.
meeting, and they needed these banks.
Was it a
So this-
big order or was it like just a,
$65,000. It was 65 more, $80,000.
It was over.
Yeah.
wow?
Back 20 years ago. Now it was basically all profit because we gave them some bogus price when they started calling us because we're like, you don't want this bank.
And they
It's
took
so
that price.
And they took the price. We made a
That's
fortune
an
on that
amazing
order.
story.
By the way, the Bank of Nigeria didn't call you. God called you. He sent you. The Bank of Nigeria was the messenger, but that's what happened.
Right.
You
But
realize
we turned
that
it
this
away
is like
a few times, and we kept saying, "No, we don't want the order. We don't want the order. Stop calling. Stop calling. No, we don't want the
and
order."
like, listen, we're gonna make you get this order whether you like it or not. And they just kept on coming back. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right.
So we should start taking these things seriously. Or I gotta go back to the email.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Respond
I gotta
to the
check my
email.
spam really quickly.
Right. Right.
By the way, these people in Nigeria, like these Americans, we're just trying to give them money, and they're just not taking it from us.
Yeah, right.
But still, we were hesitant. We opened a separate bank account for them to wire transfer in the payment.
Smart.
I still didn't want them touching our bank account.
Wow.
I still didn't trust the
So you were
process.
extra cautious.
And I was still very careful because it just felt
Did it take time for you guys to touch that money? Like, were you nervous?
I was very scared.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. They tell
Right.
you all the years.
The 100
"Don't
grand
listen to
is
this."
just sitting in the account, and you're like, oh.
No, we're not touching it. It took us a very long time.
You said you ran to airports for other delivery.
Right.
What are you doing?
We've had situations that certain things got delivered to the wrong place.
Oh, okay.
When you order with Rush King, we will hold your hand and take care of things. Back in the day, I'm just going to remind you of the story with the drug company that was in Chicago. We were doing some samples with the drug company. Back then, drug reps were able to give out a lot of promotional items. Now that it's more regulated and they can't just give out the amount of stuff that they used to give out. And the samples mistakenly, remember the story, came to us instead of going to Chicago. Well, guess what? It needed to be in Chicago that day. What do you do about samples that we're holding that were like custom items that we were doing for them? You get it on a plane to Chicago because there is no other way to get it there. And we figured it out
Same day.
same day.
Amazing.
How did you
Within
figure
an
it? You
hour.
went to the
You
airport?
just go to the airport and you get it on the next flight and you have somebody meet it on the other way. There's always ways to figure things out. And that's what we tell the customer. We don't want those terrible stories to happen. We don't
Do they
want
let
any
you
of that
check
stress.
Luggage onto a flight if you're not flying? on the
No,
flight?
you have to give it to someone.
Oh yeah.
So you
somebody
found someone.
Somebody has to be.
How did you find someone?
You just go where there's a will, there's a way.
So you found someone, you
Can
paid them,
you take this in,
and
right?
you said, can you do me a favor and take
It's
this
just a
bomb
bag.
for me? I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't say that, right?
Right.
Somebody
have
trusted you to take a
somebody
box.
really trusted them.
Chicago.
Yes.
And the airport on the other side. We
Did
had
they
this-
open the box to see what it was?
It's just samples of promo items. It was actually
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But see, we're still here and we haven't, gotten arrested. So
You know, I had that on a plane, by the way. This guy that comes over to me is, you're flying business. You're allowed a suitcase. I see you don't have suitcases. Do me a favor. Can you take these few suitcases for me? I'm like, wow. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
I'm flying El Al to Israel. I'm not taking suitcases. And he says, no. I'll bring you the head of security of El Al. I said, you could bring the president of Israel. I'm not taking this. Sure enough, though, by the way, he brought the
Who was really?
head of security. He worked for a newspaper called the Yediot Achronot.
right.
And his job was to get the printed version in America, an Israeli paper, the printed version in America every week and ship it to Israel
Yep.
because it was cheaper that way. Find people in business class, had a little connection. It was before El Al was, in the right hands,
Yeah.
right? And people used to do that all the time. So
Get it in,
it's
right.
interesting. that
We
you-
had that also with an umbrella order. Do you remember there was a facility in New Jersey? They ordered clear umbrellas for Nurses Day. Nurses Day is a very big time that people order giveaways.
When is Nurses Day?
May something or another.
Thank God it stretches for weeks now.
Oh, okay,
There's
good.
Nurses Month. Nurses
Thank God for
Year.
Hallmark, right? It made business.
That's right.
Like, you know.
What
That's
does
a
a
lot of what we
nursing
do.
home typically buy from you? What are those go-to things that every nursing home will buy? Like, what's that residual thing?
So definitely the place to start is admission kits. Some type of a bag with a couple of items that they give as they get new admission.
When the patient gets admitted, they
Mhm.
give them a welcome kit. What's
with
in
about,
that kit?
With about 10 items. Deck of cards, slippers, pens,
A toothbrush.
notebooks. Toothbrush could be basic stuff, cups, pillowcases, whatever it is that they
Okay, cute.
need, whether it's an assisted living or a different type
So
of
they must do a lot of those. They're ordering those almost weekly or monthly.
We stock a lot of those. We have certain customers that will order a project like that, and they say, well, we want to order this in bulk and we'll get better pricing and we'll work on projects like that, but we don't need them all. Send us, a box of 35 at a time. We offer warehousing, we offer shipping. We try to be very user-friendly and easy. Don't start working. Just shoot us an email as you need more of your admissions kits. We have them stocked here. We'll just shoot it out. We keep it on a spreadsheet. We make things super comfortable and super easy and super top line service.
What about retail? You guys do to, direct to consumers, or are you selling only to businesses?
No, we can do to consumers too. Like,
So do you have a
if you're making
website?
a bar mitzvah, yeah, of course we have a website. We're talking about the healthcare arm of our business.
Yeah.
But another huge arm of our business is our website business.
What's the percentage?
And that's my bread and butter of what we do. I don't know, what is our percentage of our website business?
Percentage between business to business and direct to consumer.
Yeah, that I wouldn't know. That we would have to.
It's got to be 95% direct to business.
Right. So that's your main footprint, is selling to.
The consumer who someone's ordering for a bar mitzvah or a bas mitzvah or a sweet 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
Those smaller
they're
type of
small
orders.
Right.
I mean, we do them. They're
Yeah, but those are a small part of your business.
It's a small part of it.
What was like the most interesting type of client that you had?
But I'm actually going to interrupt you for 1 second, tell your Acme story. We were dealing with somebody who was extremely annoying, needed mugs for her husband's retirement party. You know what it's like dealing with people who want mugs for a retirement party? Put it like this, put it like that. I'll do 72, I'll do 71, I'll do 73, I'll do 75. No, I like it red. No, I like it blue. There's a lot of back and forth. And those customers we have to deal with, but it's not like
Too much time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time, and we have to deal with that. She was difficult to deal with. And then to top it all off, she lives way out in the middle of the country somewhere. UPS can't get to wherever she lives in her barn somewhere. So UPS had to then meet her at the bottom of her hill. There was a lot of coordinating with her silly order of the mugs. Sammy was the rep back then. We didn't have so many people. He was the rep back then. Lived through that order, got the mugs for her husband's retirement party. 2 weeks later, she calls and
I actually took her call. And she tells me how wonderful it was dealing with me. And by the way, my day job is I am the head purchaser for Acme Foods.
Stop it.
So-
What a story. This is, by the way, we should have started the podcast with this. I'm so happy that how did you think of the story all of a sudden? Like, what did we say that triggered you to remember this? This is
I
like,
think we were talking about the small customers.
a
Yeah.
small customer, not so small anymore.
Right.
Because I was thinking, like, at what point did you just decide, oh, we can never do this again, or like not call this person back, or that's, and you didn't. You went through with it, and then she's telling you that she's the director of purchasing for Acme Foods.
Right.
I'm not that excited yet. I want to hear what happened.
I'm already excited.
No. I met a lot of people
After we got through her husband's retirement party,
There
we
you
got
go.
through the purchasing
There you go,
through
yeah.
Acme Markets, and
Yeah.
we became one of their vendors and one of their approved vendors and their group purchasing vendors. And then we opened the door to lots of other
Wow.
business that she was able to open the door.
That's
from it.
amazing. Are you still doing business with them?
Kept on coming.
I don't think so. Like,
But this is
going
years
back many
ago, you're
years.
saying.
Yeah, a lot of these things.
Wow.
Michael, what do you learn from this? I mean, you never know, right?
Yeah.
You have to treat everything.
I learned nothing from them. No, really, because each customer is really the same. They're all people. They're all people that came to us. You said the Bank of Nigeria came from God. You're saying that this other lady, I have to treat her well. We really treat all customers until they teach us to do it otherwise. We really treat all customers the same.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. I love it.
You're answering his question. That's
Yeah.
what he's
Right.
saying. He's
Right.
saying the answer is you treat each person as its own individual. You give them the attention.
Yep.
You really never know what's going to be that window and that opportunity.
But at the same token, I don't want to lose sight that sometimes
Right. We are
strategically,
wasting money.
it
and
does
making
make
a lot
sense that
of
we
money.
have to align our resources properly.
Customers sometimes teach us,
Yeah.
don't spend so much resource on this,
Right.
or this person is, we've had to fire a client.
Right. Right. And we
I'm
do.
Sorry, we
And we
can't
do.
work with you. Please find,
Yeah. It's not a match. It's not working
We
out.
have a good communication with all of our staff at the end of each week. We might not necessarily meet with them, but we have them shoot us
Yeah.
an email with ups and downs of their week
Yeah.
so that we can be involved. And there was one of our sales reps last week sent us an email that there was a particular customer who orders this time every year, and she just can't handle this lady. She's very difficult. She's very demanding. At the end of a million ups and downs, she ended up with pens. And we told her, this is the last order that you're going to take for her. Please send her elsewhere. At a certain point, if the employee cannot work with them and you're giving it your all and she's being difficult, please take your business elsewhere. There's
I respect that.
We can do.
What is the next advancement for this business? What's coming? What is the next big thing? You know, as technology is advancing, and where is this going? What direction? What should we get excited about?
So what happens to us day to day is we get very involved in the day to day, which is, you know, every day, as Sammy said, is a new adventure. We don't know what's going to happen. And as we train in our people, you think you're going to work on a few things today. Phones ring, emails come in. It gets super busy. We're doing over 100 orders a day. And sometimes it could be small basic orders, and sometimes it could be very rush orders. We could have orders for today that they need by Friday. We have a lot of upside down, topsy-turvy. Definitely what's on our agenda now is getting our social media up there. And we know we're not up there, and we know we're not good about it. We know that.
What are you doing about that? What are you doing
They're
about that?
coming on our podcast.
Yeah,
we're sitting here.
This is not enough, though.
Guys, I'm very proud of you that you're getting out of your comfort zone. No, this wasn't easy, by the way.
Yeah, this is a good.
This was a 2-hour sales.
Easier for some than for others.
Yes, yes, but you got to bring somebody who gets it. You know, maybe somebody young and somebody who's in tune with, you know, because social media is the wave of the future. I mean, that's the form of communication. Legacy media is pretty much over with, and now the way we communicate with one another is through our own platforms, right? So you got to find someone who's going to make it more cool, who's going to make it more hip, and you're going to put out content. You know, you got to keep the name top of mind for people. And it's not necessarily about a better product, but it's who you are, sharing your story. I think the fact that you two are married and you've been in business for a long time, maybe you can think about sharing tips with other business owners that are also married and share your experiences. If you're willing to get a little vulnerable, if you're willing to open up, you'll see real quickly. People will resonate with you. People will realize, oh, they're just like me. Ooh, I want to hear more about what they have to say.
Right.
So if you take that step, and it's difficult, it's not easy, but you bring somebody in, I'm not saying do it by yourself, don't forget about it, bring someone who knows this space and figure it out, because that is where the future is going.
Right. You know.
And you guys really want to tap into that. You don't want to get blockbustered.
Right.
Remember Blockbuster? No.
Yeah,
right.
we know.
Yeah,
Right.
we remember that.
Continental Airlines. We keep saying that.
Our kids have no idea who Blockbuster is. They'll never know, right? Because they failed
You
to
don't
really.
still have the card in your wallet?
No.
I do. You never know when they're going to show up again.
Yeah. Blockbuster, by the way, was thrilling for many reasons, but it wasn't like so acceptable, like, you know, in our community, you know, to go Saturday night, Matzah Shabbos, and
Still out the door.
get a movie. But somehow everybody was still there. Yeah. You saw all your neighbors. Just, you
We all
know.
met at Videorama on the corner of 18th Avenue. Are you
Oh,
kidding me?
Videorama. I remember that place. Yes.
Yeah. You just didn't go to the back when everyone.
No, of course not. Of course
What's
not.
there now? What is
Probably a
there now?
bank.
Urgent.
Urgent bank. That's what's all over Borough Park these days. That's the truth. Take me back, guys, to when you started. You know, Ushi asked this question yesterday, and I love this question. And you were saying that there's someone going around to different business entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Tell us when you were not able to make it, and you were like struggling and thinking, like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, you know,
The way he phrases it very simply is, were you ever broke before?
COVID.
And what did you do during that time?
Right. So we hit COVID.
Mhm.
Nobody's ordering anything. Nursing homes are really struggling, and that's a big arm of my business. Phone stopped. Can't pay payroll. Can't hit what we need to do. And we said, okay, we need a pivot. We put everybody on whatever that was, unemployment or whatever we needed to do. At the time, also, I was going through some personal stuff. My father ended up in a hospital. We couldn't find him. We lost him. So I was, dealing with.
lost him physically.
Lost him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He walked out of the hospital?
My father fell. He was an older man. He fell at home. He ended up breaking his hip. Unfortunately, I ended up the one talking to Hatzalah. He was in New Jersey. I was in New York. And I said, I think he needs to go to a hospital because a fall with a broken hip at home for an elderly man is dangerous.
Straight away.
He belongs in a hospital.
Yeah.
So I drove over there, got to the hospital. They won't let me in. My mother happened to have been in with him. They made me and the security guard bring my mother out. He needed hip surgery. And they said they're going to give him some hip surgery. And in 2 days, we can pick him up and take him home. But he needs to stay here now. We never heard from him again. This was a man who had a smartphone, who was an elderly man, but he was not dying. He certainly didn't have COVID. He ended up getting transferred to a COVID ward. We don't know where he ended up in that hospital. They wouldn't let us in. They wouldn't answer the phone. We had a lot of, contacts that I have in the nursing home arena who have representatives in the hospital tried to figure out where is he, what's
So
going on.
he was transferred somewhere, but there was no
in the
trail of.
hospital somewhere, maybe the closet. We don't know.
The chaos of COVID.
So he vanished.
So he died in the hospital. We got the phone call that his care is going down. I said, has he been getting his medications? Have you been feeding him?
Yeah.
Because he hasn't answered his phone.
How many days later is this?
So it was a full week.
A week.
A week.
So for a week, you don't even know where he
We
is?
had
And then they
every
locate him and...
And then we actually, if we want to take this to a hashgacha process story, we could go on that little tangent. It's a great story. We couldn't find him. We had no idea where he was. Couldn't get people on the phone. All of a sudden, somebody who happens to be a distant relative of ours, but was in medical school. I have a niece that went to medical school in Israel, who was in medical school with a niece in Israel. He was a radiologist. Somehow he ended up on the floor that my father was, and he saw a name on the chart, which happened to be my niece's name, because she was the representative that we put on in case they had medical things. In case they would actually call us, they should call my niece. So maybe they had a professional courtesy to a fellow doctor. We put her on. He walks by, notices a file. He didn't belong on the floor. It was a COVID floor at that point. He was a radiologist. Somehow his head turned. He noticed my niece's name written on a paper, and he called my niece and said, why is your name, you live in Baltimore, why is your name on a chart in New Jersey in a hospital? And she says, what are you doing there? He was a radiologist. He's like, my mother will kill me. I don't know why I ended up on this floor. I'm on a COVID floor, but I saw your name and I wondered what you're doing there. She says, our grandfather is lost in that hospital. We have no idea where he is. We have no idea what he's up to. Can you check on him? He said, yeah. He got himself all garbed up. He found the room. He went in and he gave us such a sense of relief. He found my father. He found him there. He said, Vidoy, because we knew we're losing him. We don't even know what's going on with him. He opened his phone. We all talked out loud. At that point, my father was sedated or out or we don't know what. We all said goodbye. We didn't know where he was. We said, we're here with you. We can't get in, but we're behind you. And he said, Vidoy with our father. My father passed away that night, but some kind of an amazing hashgacha process. He's like,
there was somebody there in his final moment.
Onto that floor. He's like, but I noticed the name on the chart.
Wow.
And I was like, God sent like Eliyahu Navi or something to walk through that floor and say, I saw him. I said, Vidoy with him. I put the phone on so that you can talk to him and say your goodbyes. I mean, it's not that much,
that's a crazy,
in my heart
that's crazy.
Why was he doing there? And we should have gotten him out and we couldn't get him out. But at that time, bringing us back to that story is I was losing my father. You see my personality. I was trying everything. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to go in. I'm going to put on doctor clothes. I will find somebody who's on that board in that hospital. I will find this nursing home owner who I know who's on the board in that hospital. I will get in there and I will get my father out. I couldn't do it.
Wow. This is a crazy story. First of all, I'm terribly sorry for you.
Yeah.
It must have been
thank you.
an excruciating experience.
Yeah.
I mean, not knowing where someone is the worst thing in the world. It's just
Right.
like not knowing is what is unsettling. It's very difficult. So that's crazy. And during COVID, we forget it's been 4 years, but it was madness. It was chaotic. And thinking back, a lot of the things that we did and how we, rules that were in place that in hindsight made no sense. And unfortunately, there are probably more stories like this. And this is heart wrenching.
Yeah. And we say he's a carbon of Corona.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of Corona, we lost him.
That's crazy. That's terrible.
But that brings us back to the business took a nosedive. And after I got up from Shiva, I said, okay, we're going to have to put this together because this is our whole life here. I call it my fifth child. We have 4 children and my business is my 5th child.
This may be one of your oldest children. How old is your oldest child?
No, actually.
Okay, but it's up there, right? It could be 2, 3. Yeah, it's pretty old.
But you know what we did? We cut up T-shirts and we turned them into face masks with a print on it. And before they did all the masks, we said, we're going to have to sell something that people need to buy.
Yep.
What are we going to do? So back then,
Masks.
we arranged with a T-shirt company to cut up. This is before the printed face mask, and that turned into a business on its own.
Sure.
We said, can you cut us T-shirts today? And we started selling the
Cut
printed
very nice rectangles with little
right out of a T-shirt. And that's before it
What
turned
a
into
move,
a business.
guys, by the way. What a move.
And it went on fire. And then we did the healthcare hero T-shirts, and that went on fire, and everyone was ordering it for their facilities, and they were giving gifts, and I said, I hope we're going to be able to get paid for all this business because, there's no money going around, but we did it. And we stood tall, and we hired our staff right back because we were dealing with all these mask orders and these T-shirt orders, and
Look at you.
We developed ourselves.
You're in the creative type of business, and even in the business model, you got creative as well. And you pivoted into something, and you kept yourselves afloat, and you did a service for the people that you hired back because they also need jobs.
Yeah.
So that's really amazing.
Yeah. At the time when we put them on their unemployment, I have people that work for us. They have families.
They're depending on you.
Yeah, I have people that, unfortunately are divorced and there is no other income there. I
Yeah.
said, we're going to do our best, but we also told them we're putting them on unemployment, but we need them to work. We need them every single day because the only way we're going to get ourselves to keep going with this is by putting in the hard work. We weren't just sitting with our feet up in a hotel somewhere in Florida like some.
No, you guys
other
sounds like
people did.
you're in the trenches. You guys are right there with how long is your longest tenured employee working by you?
The full 20 years.
20? Is somebody that's with you from the beginning?
You.
A
We keep
few people?
You remember Jackie from the Out of the Box
Yes,
days?
of course. She's still working with you?
You bet.
What a compliment.
Wow.
all
That says a
time.
lot about you guys.
You remember Michael, Mo, back then?
I'm still getting
Yeah.
over the fact that Jackie's still with you. That's
With us.
great.
She's part of our family. When
That's
we
such-
hire people,
that's
we
so
tell them
beautiful.
we're
Hi,
hiring
Jackie.
for a life sentence. You're never leaving. We hold on to good health.
That's
and we make them
phenomenal.
Part of our life and part of our family.
I think you need
And
to
they
change
want
your
to.
name, by the way, to Rush King and Queen. I mean, you guys are amazing.
Michael, it's right there on the shirt.
What
Have you-
I didn't see it.
There it
I didn't
is.
see it. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're the Rush
Yeah.
Queen. Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not expect this type of story. Like we see you everywhere we go. You guys are amazing partnered vendors with Prime Stores.
Thank you.
And just knowing that you're in the room here with us telling this story, it makes it all worth it. Seeing you
Thank
running
you.
around, your shirts and your
I feel like I want to bring them business like
Let's
tomorrow.
go.
I don't know. I just like I
Come
feel
on,
like
Prime
I should
Store.
give them a little parting gift before they leave.
Come on, Prime
They're such
Store.
nice people. You're very
I know.
pleasant people, I have to say.
Yes.
Good conversationalists, okay? And you have really a lot of stories to share. And, in any which way, as long as you just open your eyes, there's really a story of hashgacha pratis, like you pointed out. And I always like to say this line is that coincidences is God's way of reminding you that he exists. That's all.
Right.
That's all what it is,
Right.
right? And you have a lot of these stories to share, and you're in a promotional item business. Like, who would have thought like God's hands would be visible and he's delivering to you,
Every
just regular
single day.
people is moving chessboards and everybody's purse is being moved. And you guys have that. I'm so happy you shared that with us.
Every single
This
day.
was phenomenal.
We appreciate it, guys. This has been another amazing
Thank you.
episode
Thank you.
brought to you by the Prime Stores production team. Before we let you go, guys, we always like to ask one or two staple questions. And I'm just thinking one that I'm thinking of. You guys have been through so much. There's so many young people trying to get into industries, whether it's, sales, promotions, from a woman's perspective, from a couple's perspective, from just an entrepreneurship perspective. What would you tell those young people? What would you tell your younger self? What is that, that secret sauce that kept you going and that kept you so strong throughout all these years?
I was actually talking to another much younger lady just at the breakfast yesterday, and I was telling her, hold on to your vision. Don't feel them. Sometimes mothers have guilt. I shouldn't be working so hard. I shouldn't be going to conferences. I should be home with my kids. I feel bad I'm not there when they come home with their homework. Don't hold the guilt so strong. You're doing your best, and everyone's really doing their best, but hold on to your vision. Because if this person had a vision and she was a hard worker and she had it, hold on to your vision.
I love that. What about you, Sammy?
I do love
Any
that as
parting
well.
words?
Yeah, find something that you like, something that you enjoy, but put your entire self into it. Just really just do it with your all. Cheryl's favorite thing is when you do it all the way. Do it all the way, but really put yourself into it. Become an expert, become a go-to, become something that you can be proud of.
I love that, guys. Thank
Amazing.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. You guys are
This
amazing.
was really beautiful. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.